Boker Tov, good morning. It is Wisdom Wednesday. Here with some wisdom for you. The chat is open, but I can't see it, just so you're aware. I know that you're there, but I can't address you by name. But I know you're here. I know you choose to be here, and I know I choose to be here with you. And so we are in the new book of Shemot, the book of names. And there are 3 sections, as usually 3 parts of which we will break apart this parsha, this portion. Excuse me. Heartburn in the mornings. Crazy. And so they are the 3 different parts. The first we're going to attack is names and dignity, Shemot. The second part of our learning. It's Bereshit, we know what we're doing. We're talking about creation. We're talking about these things. And then it's always strange when people talk about Torah, right? And they think the whole story only comes from 2 parts, right? They think Bereshit in the beginning, Genesis. Everybody knows. Come on. This is, that's the common, right? The story of creation. And then the second book, Shemot, meaning names, the book of Exodus. Okay, people know it because they think Exodus, Passover story. The third book, Vayikra, meaning, and he called, the book of Leviticus, where there's weirdness. Then Bamidbar, in the desert, the book of Numbers, and then Deuteronomy, like things and words, like a recap. So we're starting the second book of the 5 books of Moses, or the 5th book of Torah. 5 books of Torah. We're on the second book, Shemot. And so when we closed last week, we talked about Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek, that we should be strengthened with the words. We should be strengthened with the teaching. And now we come to Shemot, where we'll break it into 3 parts, the whole book, obviously, a lot of parts, but this portion of this week into 3 parts, which is names and dignity, then moral courage, and then reluctant leadership. And those are the 3 things we're going to touch upon as we learn together. And so let's start this first part, which is, these are the names being seen in a world that erases. Talking about human dignity. The book of Exodus opens quietly. There's no thunder, there's no miracles, there's no drama, just a list of names. These are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt. I mean, it doesn't get more simple than that. Before Pharaoh appears, before slavery intensifies, before suffering defines the narrative. The Torah insists on something foundational. And here it is. Before the people are oppressed, they're named. This is not incidental. This is not accidental. This is theology. Judaism understands that dehumanization does not begin with violence, it begins with erasure. When people are reduced to numbers, labor, or threat, cruelty becomes possible, and we know it. And so Torah does the opposite. It names. Even as generations pass, even as Israel becomes numerous and feared, the Torah pauses and says, these are their names. This shows us that there's kavod, there's dignity, not as some abstract value, but as a spiritual practice. Intentionally naming the people. Pharaoh's first sin is not enslavement. It is fear, masquerading as policy. Behold, the people Israel are too many and too mighty for us. He doesn't even know their names. He only knows that they're a threat. And because he can't see them as individuals, he's just seeing them as a collective, he can justify treating them as expendable. That pattern is ancient and at the same time painfully modern. Whenever fear replaces relationship, dignity is the first casualty. Whenever fear replaces relationship, dignity is the first casualty. Wherever people become symbols instead of souls, violence is on its way. Shemot asks us to notice this early on, because redemption begins long before liberation. It begins with someone's refusal to forget a name. Names in our tradition are so important, so relevant, so part of our chain of history. Say their names, we're naming them. When we remember our loved ones, we say their name aloud. When we are praying for healing, we say their name aloud. When it is the anniversary of a tragedy, we say the names of the people that have been affected, afflicted, burdened. When we say the name, we hope and pray that they will not be forgotten. When we say someone's name, it links them to the circles, the spheres, the greater that they're connected to. But not only that, when we say a person's name, it comes from the connection to their origin and every branch in between. It comes to a place when we say someone's name that the thoughts about that person, their legacy, their qualities, their attributes, their successes and their failures all come to be. But when we refuse to say the name, we've lost it. There's something deeply grounding about starting a new book of Torah this way. Not with solutions, not with heroics, but with recognition. Judaism teaches that we cannot heal what we refuse to see. And we cannot redeem a world we no longer recognize as human. This parsha, this portion, quietly asks us these questions. Who in our world is being reduced to a category instead of honored as a person? Well, I don't know, but that list is so long we don't have enough paper to write it down. Who in our world is being reduced to a category instead of honored as a person? And when I think about that long, I'm thinking about like a roll of toilet paper or a roll of paper towels, something that's, or the brown paper on the roll, where we would be rolling and rolling, writing the names. But instead, they want to just make it a category. Then we won't run out of paper because we'll just put everybody in a pile, call them this, seal up the zippy bag and write the name on it. Category. Humans are not categories. Humans are humans, individual souls. The portion quietly asks us also whose name is being forgotten or ignored or deliberately erased. Again, endless. But we can't let it be that way. That's not the way our tradition teaches us. Kavod, respect, and dignity is not only about how we treat others, it's about how we allow our own selves to be seen. Not as a role, not as a function or an expectation, but as a whole person. Each an individual soul and an entire entity, an entire being. So as we move through Parshat Shemot with more teaching, trust, there's always teaching to be had. We reflect on what we've started to learn today, thinking about what we might learn tomorrow. But we reflect on these two questions today. Who needs to be named again in our family, in our community, in our heart? And where might restoring dignity begin, not with action, but attention? Where might restoring dignity begin, not with action, but with attention? Beloved friends, we're here to learn together. We're here to say that these are the names. We live in a world that erases names. But we're here to say these are the names, and each soul deserves dignity, human dignity. We don't need thunder. We don't need miracles. Well, we need miracles, but we don't need drama. What we need is to see the soul of another human before it gets erased. It's time to open our eyes. It's time to open our hearts. We've begun a new secular year together, a year in which we dedicate ourselves to doing better. For we are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you. We're going to see you here tomorrow, Friday again, Saturday. All of these opportunities for us to be together in community, in love, in respect, in honor, with dignity, with a good moral compass that says, hey, every human name deserves dignity. Am Yisrael Chai. Let's continue because the Jewish people will live. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Od Avinu Chai.